Hello and welcome to the 112th episode of the But I'm Knitting podcast. My name is Ramona. I'm a knitter from Toronto and welcome to my corner of the crafting world. I feel like I've made great progress this week. So for today's episode, I've got 2 finished objects, 1 work in progress to show, a new cast on, and something I was having a little bit of difficulty with, but I'll explain that part later. So I guess I'll get started with my finished objects. So specifically because I'm participating in the knit along called for summer sock camp, I started 2 pairs of socks at the beginning of June and I finished them both. I'm planning on doing a lot more, but I'm just happy I got these done. So first things first, let's start with the stitch surfers. Bam! They're done. Show the other side. And where is it? Oh, there it is. So last time you had seen, I had this sock already done. Because I did the toe up. So I was just about past the heel and I was working my way up. And I was praying that I would have enough of this color in order to finish because it's just a really small ball that I have left. But I was able to do it. They look much better on foot, and because of that, I will show a picture of it here. So for this sock pattern, it is called The Stitch Surfers by Louise Roberts. It was originally in a publication of Knitty.com, but if you look on Ravelry, there is a link to a website that now hosts it. I don't know if it's still on Knitty.com, but it's not where I downloaded the pattern from recently. I can't remember exactly where, but it is a free pattern. Oh, love it. So that is one. For the yarn that I used this color is Retrosaria Mondim in the colorway 101, which is basically orange. For the contrast color, I used a yarn I dyed myself called I'm Gonna Call You Skirt. So I did everything in a size 0 needle. Somebody had asked when I put it up on Instagram what I had used, and it's a fingering weight yarn, and I did it for 64 stitches. I believe the amount of stitches is exactly what the pattern calls for, one of the size options. If not, it's not that hard to adjust for what you need, depending as to what you're doing. So, ooh, love this thing. So, the ends haven't been, no, it's toe-up socks. Yeah, I pretty much did weave in the ends already. So, I don't even have to worry about that. These are just done. Next project. These are my Floral Spell socks. Let me just neaten these up a little bit. And here's one. Sorry. I should have neatened these up before. I think because yesterday I had tried them on for pictures and I didn't put them back as neatly as I usually do. But here are both of the socks. And you can see it better there. So last week when you had seen it, I had finished this sock and I was working on this one. I think I had just finished the heel, or I was right about to put it in. That's where the stitch mark is from. I have not woven in my ends yet. I will get to that maybe this week. We'll see. So yeah, that's where I was last week, and I just finished off the foot and it's done. I love the way these look. They're like so simple. I use a shadow wrap heel again. I did the same kind of heel for my stitch surfers as well. They're both shadow wrap heels. So they look really good on the foot, in my personal opinion. So I think this is going to be my new go-to for short row heels. I really do like that one. So for the yarn for this one, I used Mondim Retrosario for the main color in the colorway 113. It doesn't officially have a name. I call it any variety of blue that I can possibly think of at the time. For this one here, for this part here, this yarn is from a gradient set from Leading Men Fiber Arts in their Gradient Showstopper base. and the colorway is called Floral Spell. Hence the reason I call this my Floral Spell socks. So these are done. It's given me ideas for other stuff I wanted to do with the same kind of idea for socks. I think it's great. It's so simple. Other than having to worry about weaving in ends at the end, it's not bad. It's a really good way to get to use up those gradient ones where you think the colors just go so good together and you don't want to break them up. So those are my two finished objects. So when I finished those socks, I was supposed to cast on new ones. After I show you my work in progress, we'll discuss that. So for my work in progress, yes, just the one I'm showing. This is my olive leaf sweater. Let me put this down over here. Stay good. It's the olive leaf pullover, sorry, by Rico. When you had last seen, I didn't really do that much. I did a little bit, but not too much. I'm still working my way on the second sleeve. Last time you had seen, I was about there. I did this. I just have to make it to the end of the chart that I'm currently on. Then there's another chart, and then there's a cuff, and then it's weave and ends, block, it's done. I'm real close with this one. So yeah, it was maybe about 10 to 15 rows that I did. Not much, but I am honestly so looking forward to this. I think this looks, oh, I'm not even certain how much you can get to see of that in the picture, but I'm so looking forward to actually wearing this and being able to show it off. The yarn that I'm using for this is Riverside Studio, in their Super Sock base, and the colorway is called Salt and Pepper. So, I can't wait. I just keep looking at it and I'm imagining it being nicely folded on like a shelf or something like that. Yeah, impatience really gets to me. So this is the only work in progress I'm currently working on. There are some things that I need to get started on again, and I'll get to it. Just not yet, but I'll get to it. So that takes care. So we talked about the finished objects. We talked about our work in progress. Let's get on with the new cast on. Just one. Even though the plan was as soon as I finish a pair of socks, I'm going to start a pair of socks. It's not quite working like that right now. So let's get on with what I actually did cast on. It's not much. Right now, it's just this. If you can see, yeah, you can see it better like that, because against the green wall, it kind of blends in. So this is the cuff for my next pair of socks. I didn't give it a sock name. The name of the yarn, it's going to be a self-striping. This is just the cuff. It's going to be a self-striping yarn. It's from, can I do it this way? No. It's from Area 51. That's what's there. Area 51 on their Sturdy Alien base, and the colorway is called Christmas with the Gilmores. I had this wound up from the end of November, and I just got around to knitting it now. So I'll just take out one, because she did them in 50-gram minis, in 50-gram skeins. So these are the colors right there. So I am looking forward to really getting started on that. I probably have about 8 more rows before I could actually get to start with this. So soon, very soon. I'm going to be doing my same basic vanilla socks for my self-striping, which is pretty much 20 rows for the cuff. Sorry, 20 rows for the cuff. Then switch over to the main color. Do the leg for as many repeats as I feel is necessary until, like, you know, usually for Area 51, it's usually about 2 to 3 repeats of the striping pattern. However, I'm not certain how long it takes before this starts to repeat, so it will be at my whim, whatever I feel like doing. And yeah, and then I put in my heel, and then I go for the foot for as long as it takes, put in the toe, done. So I'm not looking forward. I am working hard on these ones. So we're putting that away right now because I'm going to be working on that. So the next pattern This is not a new cast on. This was, I planned to cast this on. And I suffered a little bit of a mental setback in regard to these socks. So I had discussed, I had discussed previously that my, while working on my stitch surfer, I started looking back at some old patterns that I had worked on. And one of them was a double helix. And I decided I wanted to do it again. Last time I'd only finished one sock. Everything for that sock, okay, was new to me. There's not very often that you will find a heel out construction for a pair of socks. Usually it's cuff down or toe up or something like that. So starting from the heel is actually pretty novel. But then, yeah, so you're going to have to, so kind of like a toe up cast on, you have to do, that is basically the kind of cast on you have to do in order to work this thing, which is okay. However, if I really have to do toe up socks, yeah, Jenny's surprised, what is it? Like, my preferred method is a Turkish cast on. It's very simple. It makes sense in my head. And because I was looking at these instructions for this pattern, it's a free pattern, so anybody can really get to look it up. I realized just how complicated the written instructions were, and I'm trying to figure out how I did this before. Because this was one of my, I actually checked, and I did these socks back in 2011. Yeah, I believe it was July or September 2011. This was not long after I started knitting socks. I don't know what made me actually be able to do it and finish it. It could be one of those things where the lady who taught me how to knit socks was basically sitting right there beside me, and she had recently done them and was very much helping me to do it to get the construction as to how to do it, because I hate the Turkish cast on. No, I love the Turkish cast on. I'm not a fan of, oh, what is it? I can't remember the other name of it, but it's one that I remember a video on YouTube from Kat Bordy with swinging vines, and you're like, it just seems so complicated to me, and I don't know how I did it before, and I got to figure out how I did it and do it again for these ones. So I found a tutorial by the designer yesterday, and I looked at it while I was working on my my Christmas socks, and I'm just there like, oh my gosh. Okay, so my plan was to start this thing like Monday or yesterday, and I realized that ain't happening. So I put it aside, and I've determined I will start it today, but I'm gonna have to sit down in front of my iPad watching the YouTube video on extra slow motion to make sure I'm doing everything right. Because right now it feels like, as I'm looking at it, it's one of those things where you have to pay attention to every single step. Usually what I do is I'll watch like the first little bit. I'm like, okay, I got that. I'll pause it. I'll go and do what I need to do. Then I'll press play, and then I'll just continue going from there. But I don't feel like I can do that with this pattern, with this video. So it's going to take me some time. But just a reminder, the yarn that I will be doing this with, I'll have to look it up again. Okay, so this is the Mondim Retrosaria. Yep, I'm going through my Mondim stash. This is the colorway 305, which is like an olive green. And I'm doing it with this color, which is what I used for my graph hat, which I showed off last week. And I don't remember what the colorway number is. I know I put it on the screen, so I'll probably just have to look it up and make sure I put it on there as well. So it's Mondim Retrosaria as well. There should be more than enough yarn to do this. Such a great shade of yellow. Okay. I'm going to be using my size 0 US needles from Xiaogu, because that's what I'm most comfortable with for most of my socks. Put that inside of there. And I think that's everything for my current works in progress, or what is about to be a work in progress. So last week I had put up the question as to what to pair because they're all still sitting off to the side. What to pair with this yarn. And I've got a lot of responses. And honestly, it's down to the separation by 1 vote. So I'll have to see what happens. Because according to it, more people voted for the orange than for the brown. It really was very, very close. The difference was like 1 point. So what may end up happening is at a later date. So I'm going to cast on with this one for sure. But what I may end up doing at a later date. Oh, let me just put the two of them together. What I may end up doing at a later date, as I repeat myself for the 15th time, is because I know I will have enough yarn to definitely knit another pair of socks once I finish these ones, because that's been the case with all of the ones that I've done for like these 1 week sock things. I'll probably cast on another one with these two together so that I'll end up having both, but I'm going to start out with these two. So for that knit along, that's the Nitty Natty one sock week 2021, I think is what she's using for the hashtag. That will start on July 11th. So not next week, but I think the week after. I'm going to have to double check the calendar. So very soon I'm going to have to wind this up and get it ready to go. So for this one, this was the shade of orange that I had dyed myself a couple of years back. And I'm doing it with another Riverside studio in their Super Sock base in the colorway Barrel. So that's that. And because of that, that means I have to hurry up and finish and make space for this so that by the time July 11th hits, my needles are free and I'm good to go. So I can put my full attention in getting these ones done. So we'll put that there. We will put that there. And put you there. All right. Next. So also that starts on July 1st, which is technically tomorrow. There is another knit along starting that I want to be a part of called the Mud Punch Knit Along 21. I think that's the hashtag. I'll make sure I put the proper one at the bottom. So the only problem with that is I do not have a full skate of Mud Punch. But I had mentioned that for somebody's Instagram, somebody who had signed up for it, and I actually got a reply from Mud Punch, yay, that I could, if I have leftovers, I'm allowed to use the leftovers. So I showed my leftover, where did I leave that? I showed my skein for that, for what I did with it before. I showed that last week, so. Hold on a second. This is what I got for my Mud Punch yarn. The colorway is called Just a Circus. I'm going to be pairing it with Mondeem. It's starting to seem like my whole stash is like Mondeem yarn. It really does seem like that. But I've been like, I guess I've been collecting 1 or 2 balls all the time, like for the last while that I seem to have a lot of them. It's really affordable yarn. It's like $16. I got it from the Knitting Loft, and that was the first place that I had ever heard of it. Thank you, Vanessa, for letting me know that this yarn even existed. So for this, like, it's $16. I can get, as you can quite clearly see, many pairs of, like, at least 1, maybe 2 pairs of socks, plus another project with like the 1 skein of yarn. So I think it's a good value. So this is Retrosaria Mondeem in the colorway 118. It's almost an eggplant color, but not quite. So I'm going to be pairing these two together. And I came up with 2 ideas as to what to, oh, I forgot to mention the colorway name. Sorry, for this one, Mud Punch yarns, and in the colorway Just Like a Circus. But she's doing an update on Saturday for yarn, so we'll see if I can get it this week. So if I can catch the update, or if I'm gonna have to wait till the next one, I don't know. So these ones will be my official mud for the knit along, because she gives 2 months, so it's July 1st to August 31st. So these ones will be my official ones, because I can guarantee I'll have that one done by then, but I can't make a guarantee if I wait until the next one whether or not I'll have enough time to do it. But sorry. For my socks, I've got in my mind 2 options as to how I can make this work. I don't think I have enough. I cannot guarantee I'll have enough yarn to do like a stitch surfer, although let me just double check. Hold on. there's a possibility, but it always depends. Because if I do stitch surfers, because the self striping are not variegated, I want to make sure that they match. And so that would make sure I have enough yarn to do it so that the stripes match up. If I can get that done, then there's a possibility of another pair of stitch surfers. I make no guarantees with that. So I tried to come up with alternatives. Stay good. This is a horrible picture. Come on. Oh, darn it. I can't scroll it out. Okay. I may have to put up another picture, but just in case, I'll just show it on the screen what I have so far. Actually, not too bad. So if you look there, that's an option. Trying to do something like this. To me, it would be like a variation of stitch surfers. So I'd have to figure it out myself and decide whether or not it would impact the heel, or how much it would. It really does depend on how much I have of this and how it will impact the heel. That would be the question, where the heel placement would fall on that. The other option that I had that I just came up with, I didn't come up with it today, I came up with it before, is a much simpler variation, which is kind of like my floral spell socks. Let's see if we can do this. Zoom it in. Like this, where I would cast on with the main color, do at least one repeat with the self striping, switch over. Actually, let's just do it based on here. So I'd cast on with the main color, do my self striping, one repeat, switch over to the main color again, do the bottom part of the leg and the heel, and then probably for the mid part of the foot from between here and here, I put in another round of self striping. Where I'd place that part, the self striping in between of here, would really depend as to how long this works out to being. I'd have to check. Actually, I should probably check on one of my other socks and see if I can figure that out, because I think that might be a solution to the problem that would be different. But I'd have to see, of course, how many repeats do I have left in here. That's what it's all about. So those are the options that I came up with. I'm sure I could probably think of more. I could do a pair of shorty socks, but I don't wear shorty socks. I think I've knit maybe one, and I don't even know where they are. I have no clue where they are. I remember the yarn that I used for it, which was from Knit Picks, in one of their variegated bases called City Lights or City Lights Tonal or something like that. I remember that part. I remember what the yarn looks like, but do I even know where the where those shorties are? No. Did I really wear them? No, because they kept rolling off underneath my foot, and it didn't make sense for the way that I wear my socks on a regular basis to even have it. So I'm not even bothering that. So that's it for my works in progress. Okay, double check my plans. Go back to that. Talked about that. I haven't talked about that because I'm waiting. Okay, so I was just making sure. I talked about the double helix socks. I talked about my Nitty Natty, my Sock Week socks. I talked about the Mud Punch knit along stuff. The only thing I didn't talk about was the I call it Rainbow Cats, but my the pattern is called Vroni. I'm not getting started on that until I finish a sweater, because I want to use the salt and pepper, the leftovers from the sock from the salt and pepper, to do the sock. That's my plan. So once that is done, once the sweater is done, and then I can get started on those. And then I'm gonna try and, in a sense, knock those out as quickly as possible, because the hardest part of the sock, in my personal opinion, is going to end up being the face of the cat. After I finish that, it's basically self-striping all the way up. No questions about that. That'll be easy. So yeah, and I got everything else put aside for that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I needed to mention. July 1st. No, nothing like that. Okay. So otherwise, what's happening? Tomorrow's Canada Day in Canada. My mom had actually gotten the day off of work. What we had somewhat planned to do was, in a sense, do like a mini road trip, only for like a few hours away from the house. Just drive out, explore, because we used to do that so often before, but we haven't gotten a chance to do it in a long time. And so I suggested driving up north, like go up on Yonge Street, see how far we go type of thing. She suggested going out to Niagara on the Lake. And I'm like, that's a great idea. And then we saw the weather report, and it's pretty much rain for like the entire week. So we're still kind of iffy as to whether or not that's going to be happening tomorrow. It would end up being, yeah. So we're still kind of iffy as to whether or not that's going to happen tomorrow. But just in case, I need to be at a place with my stuff like my socks, so I can just, you know, just knit. There's also a possibility, if I manage to get the double helix heel put in, then I will bring it with me, because the rest of the sock is, once you finish the heel and you put one half of the pattern on either waist yarn, I'm planning on putting them on my sleeve holders that I got. Once you finish that, it's just knit for as long as you need to, put in the toe, knit as long as you need to, and put in the cuff. So either way you look at it, that's sorry, my nose is so itchy. That's pretty much just like plain stockinette. So I need to get it up to a point with one of my projects where I do not have to worry about it, and I can just knit on the way there, knit on the way back, hoping that I don't get nauseous, because sometimes it happens, but I have not been able to predict that. Like, okay, for those who get, like, can you knit while you're driving, or you're in a vehicle, not actually driving the car, but like, you know, sitting in the car as a vehicle, or sitting in the vehicle, or being in there as a passenger, do you get like kind of like nauseous while knitting? Sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. Same thing happens with the reading. I can never predict when it happens. Like, I think 50% of the time I feel perfectly fine, and the other 50% of the time I feel like I'm going to throw up, and it will be in the same vehicle, just on a different week, and I can't predict it. And it's annoying, because you plan, ooh, I have like an hour car ride. I don't drive, so I'm always a passenger in the car. So you expect that you have like an hour of sitting down, that yes, I could knit, and then all of a sudden you start feeling nauseous after about 10 minutes, and you don't know why. And then other times it's just like, oh, I've got an hour to knit, and you're perfectly fine. You knit the entire hour perfectly happy. I don't understand it. Like, I don't, like, I guess in my mind I'm thinking it should be one or the other on a consistent basis, and that's just not the case for me. I don't know, but hopefully I'll be okay. Just remember, I gotta charge up my battery from my my battery charger. I gotta charge it up just in case for tomorrow. Let's see, what else? Think. Okay, end of July, my niece turns 1. We're so excited. We already did, not we, I had no input on the decision. I was informed from like back in, it has to be in December, that my sister-in-law is planning a unicorn themed birthday party. I don't know if it's going to end up being one of those drive-by ones, or drive-by parties, or whatever. It depends on the restrictions that are happening in Toronto at the time. Because she has not, she's very much of a planner, and because she cannot predict exactly what's going to be happening in the city of Toronto, it's kind of iffy as to what's going to do. But we do know it's going to be unicorn themed, and as soon as I found out, I found a unicorn nightlight at my workplace, and I brought it home for her, and oh, it's so cute. So I'm looking forward to being able to celebrate with her. She's walking all over the place now. Yeah, it's like amazing, like how much she's grown and how much she's changed. It's amazing. So yeah, there's that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think that is everything. Yeah, that's probably going to be everything. So I'm going to, sorry. Thank you. So I'm going to say bye now. Thank you for spending your crafting time with me. I hope to see you again next week, and have a good day. Bye.